No. Oh, there it is.
There it
There we
is.
go. They got it. Got to do it. Got it double time. And then tonight,
Nice.
2009's The Watchmen. Can you believe it? It's taken us this long to get to it. There are so many quotes I wanted to say with the opening. I decided not to say any of them. We're going to get straight into it. This is an action packed episode. Joe Morgan, rate it and grade it.
A+.
Oh,
I watched I went back to, I have this on DVD, and I went back and I pulled my DVD out, and I was like, you know what? In this new world of voodoo and instant streaming, I'm going to look and just look, because the shit. So this is an aside note on my rating and grade it, but the shit that you used to be able to get, like the unlimited edition that I got, wasn't something you could just go find on any shelf back in the day before internet and streaming. So I was like, I'm gonna look. And when I saw it and it was 3.5 hours, I was like, more Watchmen? Threaten me with a good time. Yeah. I mean, what the fuck?
Right.
You know? Absolutely worth the investment. Fully produced. Absolutely enjoyed the extras and included all of the extras from the director's cut, as well as a re-edit of the Black Freighter, which was a whole sequence that got cut out.
Is it mixed in, or do they lump it all together?
No, they mix it in. It's threaded into the narrative. And I'll admit,
it should be said, you two have watched that. I watched my DVD without the Black Freighter. I know what the Black Freighter is. I'm going to be the comic angle on this show. Go ahead.
Boom. There it is. A+ for the full Ultimate Edition. I really liked the extras. The movie's already a powerhouse. Probably one of the best assembled comic book movies I've ever come across. Take that, MCU. But there it is.
Yeah, really. No. Hole in one. Yeah. Bullseye. First
out of the fucking park.
Slight changes from the comic, almost all for the better. There's one thing in the comic I did not get, and that's fucking Ozymandias in front of those screens saying, I did it. If I could have just seen that, A+ for me as well. Russ, let's hear yours.
So when we reviewed Dune, I specifically called out this movie because I felt like they suffer from a similarity of they are both I'm going to watch that. I can't put that on for fun. That said,
like it. Yes.
Agreed. I mean, Godfather's the same way. But
it? Yeah, no, it is.
Still haven't seen it.
I can't believe you said Godfather. Do you like The Godfather?
Let me finish this. This movie does not suffer from a lot of things that held Dune back, though. And personally, I like that kind of movie. I like the really drawn out intellectual properties that this movie stimulates. I also give it an A+. You do have to invest time and give it what it deserves, your full attention when you watch this movie. But when you do that, it does not miss a beat. There's nothing wrong with it. It's phenomenal.
So just quick feedback on your commentary about paying attention. I feel like it doesn't require that level of depth to enjoy it.
Oh, I thought you were going to make a joke about Russ paying attention.
No. It was something that I saw on this watch through. And maybe it's those little extras. Maybe it's the combined total cut. But like, you could just watch it and enjoy it as a pop film. And there are plenty of surface references, plenty of high points that the general audience will get it. But dude, the deep cuts in this movie and the political implications that they make are just, I mean, yeah. Ugh.
This movie is an Easter egg lover's dream. The
Wet
things
dream.
You catch in this movie as somebody looking for things behind the scenes is A+. And, I would generally not rate the movie as one, but I'm going with the moment. Yeah, this movie's an A plus. It's my number 2 on most anticipated movies of all time. When I went to my number 1 and saw the first preview ever for this movie that helped launch the graphic novel back into the bestseller list, Dark Knight, first preview that's going to show is The Watchmen. And I was like, I've never felt more ready to see a movie in my life. This is the first graphic novel I ever bought. This is a murder mystery whodunit with superheroes, and it's Alan Moore's, in my opinion, I mean, if not best work, it's in his top 2. It's breathtaking. It's the movie I wanted. It's
the movie we deserved.
It is really the movie we deserve.
I mean,
I feel like Zack Snyder made a budget of 138. It made 185. So not crazy, but definitely enough for him to afford all the cocaine that went into Sucker Punch that then ruined his fucking career, as far as I'm concerned. But this movie, Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder, you used to have everything. I mean, Army of Dead, scroll it back, bro. But this movie's definitely an A plus. Now you guys watched this Ultimate Edition with the Black Freighter. Russ, give me a rundown. I need that rundown by the end of the day. Are you going to be able to give me that rundown?
What's a rundown? Hey, Joe,
not a blow by blow summary.
How would you describe a rundown?
50 points on GTA 5.
So yeah, I mean, this is I didn't know what I was getting into when I watched this version. I also was just like, over 3 hours, whatever, I'll do it. And
how many movies make you say that? Like,
right?
Let's just pause and acknowledge the
it's true.
Gravitas behind that statement.
It's true. But what you said with what you said about you sit down and watch it. Yeah, I don't want to put this movie on in the background. I want to watch this movie when I put it on.
Yeah, you just miss too much if you don't really watch it, in my opinion. But so the Black Freighter, the first sequence, I was like, what the hell is this? I don't remember this in the movie. And by the time the second part of it comes around, because they weave in, I want to say like 5 episodes within the movie.
And that sounds about right. 5, 6. So it's not a complete derailment.
Yeah, they weave it in at all the right moments. And after the first one, I was like, that was weird. And then after the second one, I was like, I want more of that. I wanted Black Freighter. And it was just this neat side story about a guy who.
So Ben, for context, you remember, the newsstand guy, right?
No. I'm waiting for my cue so that I can say, do they tie it in to the kid who gets killed, who hugs the newsstand guy at the end? Yeah.
Yes.
The kid with the glasses reading the comic. That's the comic he's reading this entire time.
Yes. And what they do is they cut those into the whole scene, and the whole comic plays out.
It's no secret that he's reading it in this. It's just out in the open, but
maybe it is. Who are you to say?
No, in this extended version, they definitely give him his point.
He stands up with the book, and
right.
Yeah,
right.
But
there's a whole harassment scene, and I don't know. I haven't watched the director's cut version in a long time, and I don't think I've seen the theatrical version in even longer.
Hey, we got to get to that. Let's make sure we hit on that as soon as you're done. Finish that thought, though.
But in this version, he gets a moment where he's harassed by the top knots before they go and murder the old owl. And I don't remember if that's in any of the other versions. It felt like extra this version.
It was not. They just do all the other sequences of events with those guys.
Yeah.
They have those, as Ben pointed out off recording. They show a little bit more gore when Night Owl number 2
not recording
punches out.
I'm just kidding.
The dude in the bar. But I wanted to say, for Black Freighter specifically, by the time it ended, I thought that maybe there was a subplot that none of it actually happened. And the guy was just shipwrecked, drank too much salt water, lost his mind. Nothing else that he talks about was real.
It's just a great fucking comic. It's just a great comic
No, see,
in a comic movie.
to be honest with you, I actually took a really strong draw to it as a counterpoint to the role of Osmodeus and how his motives were driven.
Look at Joe. At work, I'd say, let's nominate Joe for doing the. That's right.
But no, I genuinely took it as a counterpoint, like, and especially the way they framed it in the Ultimate Edition. They come into the final cutscene about what were my motivations, how pure was I to get here, but I'm really the horror that deserves to live among horrors. And then they end the movie with Osmodeus, who's, by the way, the lawful evil paladin. Like that's how it should be played.
Osmandius. I just got to step in.
Osmandius. No, good. Yeah. Good.
Really,
good
he
call.
wants to be Ramses II, but it's Osmandius. Go on.
Yeah, no. I thought it was a good moral counterpoint. It was interesting to see that, especially in contrast of Mr. Manhattan, Dr. Manhattan.
All right, before we get into Mr. Manhattan, because it's a great segue. Wait, give me it. Give me it 1 second. We're gonna have a little detour right now, and I don't want to be inconsiderate or insensitive, but as Russ said off camera, probably in the chat, this isn't a movie that women really love. Russ, did you watch this with Sonia?
Don't you put words in my mouth.
I thought you said that.
I love women.
Yeah, we love women, but this movie is not
I
geared toward women
that.
kind of a movie.
Yes. All right.
I said that.
Did you watch it with Sonia?
She left like most.
All right. Again,
almost immediately.
I watched part of it with Kelly, and she's like, "This is the cheesiest movie. All these tropes are utilized that are so passe." And I'm like, this story introduced some of them. So the fact that you're watching the movie and it's fucking 11, 12 years old now, 12 years old, and you feel like it's passe, it's because they all bit off of this thing. How
old is this? How old is the comic?
86, 87. It came out in 12 different issues.
Exactly.
So
that's it. Is like if you're gonna call biting on the tropes, you got to roll it back farther than 09.
Right. So preview for this movie is when Batman Return or Dark Knight comes out. But I saw this movie for the first time with this guy and his mother in an IMAX theater, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And your mom had a joke about Manhattan's dick that I wish I could remember. She had a great thing about this is like a good thing and this is a great thing. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I wish I could have it verbatim, but not a great movie for women, but your mom certainly enjoyed the shit out of it. And that tickled me pink. Yeah. I love your mom so much.
Love.
What do you have to say about pirates and fucking dead body rafts and sharks?
Look at Ben's got all the key points. He got all the high points. I'm telling
you, dude. I remember this movie coming up and being in the theater with you and your mom and thinking I've been waiting 20 years to watch this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I've been waiting 20 years for this movie to be brought to me like this. And Zack Snyder fucking hit it out of the park.
No, they delivered. This is probably one of I wouldn't even know if I would go as far as a handful comic book adaptations to film that just smash it. I mean, just fucking smashed it. They didn't shy away from the violence. They didn't shy away from the corniness. They didn't shy away from any of it. They embraced all of it. The political incorrectness, the way they restructured the world. And some of the best opening montage work in film.
Oh,
And
okay.
I
All
will
right.
say, like, I'll broaden it beyond comic book adaptations and say, like, in film, period, probably one of the best montage sequences ever.
Okay.
Ever.
So we're gonna have to come back to the WAD. We're gonna have to have a little bit more foreplay because we're only gonna hit on the actors a little bit in this, but I want to ask, everybody's got to have a top 3 scenes to this movie. For me, the opening credit set to The Times They Are A-Changing is one of the most beautiful things I've ever watched unfold in front of my eyes. And I've got a daughter. I love you, Priscilla. Seriously though, she's number one in everything. But
Great line, though.
that part of this movie is one of my favorite things ever. I always remember it with fondness. What are your guys' top 3 scenes in this movie? What would you say are the 3 scenes that you're like, I could watch that again and it makes me want to watch this movie?
You go, Russ. I've got one. I've got one off the top of my head.
Shit, I don't know if they're
Y'all
favorite
think you're locked
scenes.
in here with y'all think I'm
bro,
locked in here with you.
Fryer
You're
oil.
locked in with me.
Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's such a good scene, and I hurt down to my balls.
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
when he
stands
dumps
out.
the grease on the dude's face. I actually have watched that just like, oh, I need to watch that on YouTube every now and then, just when I'm not.
Damn.
Wow.
God damn.
Just, you know,
And I
like
would
when you're
say-
in the mood to watch the most intense things are.
Dude,
There's a
and for
lot
heat
of-
checks, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but for heat checks, the actor who has to portray what's just happened, that guy fucking kills it.
Yeah.
I've never
yeah.
like felt it. He does such a good job. Anyway, go ahead.
Speaking of which, did you see the guy in the prison who's not wearing any clothes and they light him on fire? And it's like a professional that they just
Yeah, it's
literally lit
horrible.
on fire.
It's horrible. It's a
Yeah,
stuntman
it's
for
really
bad.
sure. And
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
okay,
like-
I'm on fire. I'm gonna turn and run.
They
Yeah, it's
didn't
like,
even
dude,
give him a suit to like.
I know. But we're talking about best scenes, not worst scenes. We'll get to that.
All right. So when Dr. Manhattan is pleasing, what's her name? Sally
Is he?
Jupiter.
Come on.
Dude, and there's all the different hands pop up. And
That's pretty good.
That
is
scene-
pretty good.
Uh-huh.
like call me
And why
pervert.
don't women love this movie? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then right when she walks up and she looks down the hallway and she sees him working before she even says it, I'm like, oh, he's gonna get yelled at right now for being the best man ever.
Oh my God. He can mow the lawn and please you at the same time. Why are you mad? Yeah, I get it.
right. He's literally solving friggin' free energy
Every
for the
scene with
world
Richard Nixon
and fucking you.
is
Okay.
just
Okay.
amazing.
Okay.
I really like the whole plot line of he's in multiple terms. He's changed the law
his
to go
third.
beyond 2.
Right. And his third.
Yeah.
And you know what did that for him?
what did
Winning
that
the
for him?
Vietnam War.
No,
Winning the
dude,
Vietnam War.
Dr.
And one of my
Manhattan
trivia
could be-
things, I only got a portion of the way through the trivia, and it's phenomenal. Again, Easter
I
egg
can only
paradise.
imagine. I can only
The-
imagine.
All of the flags in this movie have 51 stars because it's
Nice.
the 51st state would be Vietnam after we conquered it.
Nice.
I mean, how much does that make you just feel warm and fuzzy to this movie?
so
uh,
in reference to to Nixon only being his third term, the original Al Ellis or whatever his name is references
Uh-huh.
voting for him 5 times. So the implication is this is his 5th term.
Or he lost his first 2 to Kennedy.
Oh,
Right.
hey, fair enough. You know,
Yeah,
I had
lost
not
his
thought
first
about
2 to
that.
Kennedy.
Fair
and-
enough.
didn't quit.
then he has the comedian assassinate him.
Yep. Let's not get too
Oh,
far ahead.
hey.
All right.
Whoa.
Joe's still got to come
I hadn't even
around.
thought about that.
Joe's still got to come around, but I've got my 3 written down. So number 1, those opening credits. All right. Number 2, when we've gotten through my absolute favorite comic of the series, which is Dr. Manhattan on Mars with Silk Spectre, when All Along the Watchtower kicks in and they back up and you've got the smiley face on the moon, and then they're in the fucking Archimedes going at fucking Karnak.
Yeah.
That whole sequence up until they're walking in the door and talking about like, why is this guy such a fucking psycho? Definitely number 2, should be my number 1, but the opening credits are great. And number 3, dude, Rorschach's monologue in the beginning when he's talking about how filthy the city is and how everybody's going to look up at him and say, save me. And he'll look down and say, no.
No. Yeah.
I just got to say, it's so good. It is one of the best written things. Alan Moore is a fucking genius. And the fact that he wouldn't allow his name to even be put on based on and a work by this guy shows you how much integrity he has. But so good. And then runner up is definitely Sounds of the Silence with the comedian's funeral and the flashback to Vietnam. We'll get into actors shortly. But Joe, let's hear. Give me your top 3 and expediently if you can.
Well, you heard my first and my second. Because
recap. I've been drinking.
Shit. Second was the opening monologue.
Okay.
First was the other.
First was
thing
the grease. The grease on the face.
No, not the grease on the face. It's not the grease on the face. Me. You're locked in here with me. Yeah, that was first. Number 3 would definitely be
how to compose himself.
Well, clear my throat, preferably not into the
Let
microphone.
me clear my throat.
Exactly. Man, that Vietnam sequence. When he shoots the pregnant lady and he has that little moment with Dr. Manhattan and he's like, you could have done anything.
Dude, if he didn't have that little monologue with Manhattan at the end, it would be such a harsher thing. But him pointing out, you see into the future, you know what's going to happen. You could have stopped this. You don't give a shit about humankind anymore. That's the best poignant part for that argument in the movie. And it's made a few times. But
it was so poignant in that series of events where they just had the comedian's funeral and they're going through all these flashbacks, and you're like, they do such a good job of making you be on the fence about, should I feel bad about this guy passing? He's an American hero, and then they highlight all these points where it's like, no, dude, he was really a freaking piece of dog shit.
But he? It's all a fucking joke.
But what about the world, right? Yeah, no, I mean, and even his name is the comedian. I mean, the movie is so fucking deep, dude. Levels on levels and levels on levels.
How good is that his name is the comedian? It is the best. It's all a fucking joke. What were you going to say, Russ?
One of my other favorite scenes that kind of to go into the comedian a little more, like he has so many asshole moments that they go back on a lot. And the movie itself has so many things that challenge your frame of thinking. But that whole monologue that he does where he lights the paper on fire and he's like, you might be the smartest person in the room, but it doesn't take you to figure out that, like just saying that everyone's wrong and mankind is
foreshadowing. You're going to be the smartest man left on the cinder.
He absolutely, in my mind,
dude.
that scene, he plants the idea. He plants that fucking idea right there. He inceptions.
I hadn't even thought about that shit. He inceptioned his ass.
Question number 2: is this movie more or less plausible than? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wait, so real quick before we get off of the comedian, I just want to say Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Probably one of the best known actor that nobody knows his name.
Well, all right.
I would not know his name if I had not Googled it.
Here's the thing.
You mean the guy from Walking Dead?
We're getting straight into the
Same
wall.
guy.
Yeah, now he's Negan. So he's got a huge following now. But him as the comedian, I find to be the best actor in this movie. Do you guys have any other contenders that might be above him?
For best actor?
Yep. In this movie.
maybe Rorschach.
All right.
Maybe.
Agreed.
Like
maybe.
that's probably toe to
Tied.
toe. I'd call that
Tied.
a friggin' tie.
Jackie Earl Haley wanted this role so bad, he made his own Rorschach outfit, taped scenes from the comic, was very familiar with the source material, sent it to Zack Snyder. He was one of the first person
One of the
hired.
first people signed on to the
Yes.
project. I would
Yep.
believe that.
I'd say for me, it's like a tie between 4 people with a fifth that's a nice little just attaboy. But
Let's just throw them all in. Jesus.
Well, no, I mean
the whole fucking cast, the whole movie, like everybody was just on the nines.
Top
out
knot
the
in the
gate.
bar, the knot top in the bar. I mean, way to go.
Yeah, dude, spit those teeth out again. Action.
No, so to Joe's point of Ozymandias
There you
being
go. Did better than me.
lawful evil. I think there's 4 different characters in this movie that play a role that are like the epitome of what that mindset is supposed to be. And Ozymandias is one of them. Dr. Manhattan's one of them. Rorschach is one of them. And the comedian's one of them. And it's because of all 4 of them together that you are constantly forced to think about things that you might not even want to think about, maybe never would have thought about. Like, this movie really pushes the intellectual aspect.
So this is great. I love this viewpoint. So the comedian, I would say, would be chaotic good.
No,
I'd almost say
fucking
chaotic
way.
neutral.
I would say chaotic good.
Absolutely chaotic neutral.
No, I would believe that. I would
100%.
believe that all
It
of
is
his
not
motive.
good,
I would
bro.
believe that all of his motivations came from the fact that he believed to the core of his being that he was doing good.
That just shows you're the chaotic evil.
No, he even says he did. He's like, I did bad things to women.
I
to
know, but he
children."
obviously expressed
And
regret
numb.
over it when he found out that the narrative he had built his actions on was proven to be untrue. That's what
No.
makes me say chaotic good. It was
All right,
only when he
2-1 chaotic neutral. But what is Rorschach?
Oh, he's fucking lawful neutral, bro.
Yeah, I think so.
Lawful neutral, 100%. 100%. There is an order that should be maintained, and those outside of it are
see.
worthless.
This is why I can't find anybody to let me play my paladin, because I would call that lawful good. Like within the frame,
he's not good.
within the frame
All right.
of your beliefs,
I'll
any
give it to you.
justification can be given.
I'll give it to you. No, 100%.
Right.
He is good in his own eyes. He is the biggest force for good. And spoiler alert, his death is one of the 3 biggest ouch moments of this movie. One of the 3 biggest fuck.
Oh, dude, they did
moments
such a
of
good
this
job leading
movie.
up to that scene. You're like,
Oh.
they're not gonna let it happen. They're not gonna let it happen. They're not gonna let it happen.
His
Comic
facial
corner.
expression when he takes off his mask and his hat and he says,
Go
"Do
act!"
it." Like
Oh,
he nails
the comic,
that
bro.
face.
Dude, but
comic.
the first one he does is so much better than the second one. Like when he
He
first
says,
says
"What are
it,
you waiting for?"
Mhm.
and it
I'm
just so sincere and calm
telling you,
and
dude.
possessed. Like it was
issue
like,
12 of this
oh.
comic is like I was of an age when the comic came out where I could buy the graphic novel, and it's the first graphic novel I ever bought. And I was into comics. Joe and I got into X-Men at the same time, 92, 93, when Jim Lee rebooted the X-Men for Marvel. I was way into superheroes. X-Men is the first thing that I loved, and it was because of what can really be seen as an allegory for racial undertones and the consistency of how people are treated in society. X-Men did a great job of teaching you to think critically about how you treat somebody just because of how they are.
Yes.
And then you get the Watchmen that comes out. And before I met the Sandman, I meet the Watchmen, and it is fucking mind expanding as to what could a superhero be. It could be somebody who's crazy with this absolutely dogma of a fucking rhetoric that they follow, that they want to show the world how people should be.
Yeah, no, it
Rorschach
absolutely
is-
resembled 14th century Christianity. I mean,
Bro. So I'm telling you, this movie, this comic, very important to me. And being able to get to the end and reading that last comic and then going back and holding and collecting all 12 of the comics, reading them one by one and thinking of how these came out. People had to wait for them to come out. And the difference between the Rorschach story to the Dr. Manhattan story. I mean, the Dr. Manhattan story is one of the best comics in itself that I've ever read. When he's on Mars and he's trying to explain to Lori. And again, this movie with the flashback and her understanding that the comedian is her father is beautiful. Beautiful, weaved in. Zack Snyder did such a good job with this movie and then went so far downhill. But still,
Thanks,
though,
cocaine.
love Dawn of the Dead, Zach. Love it.
On that, just to like interrupt because of that one little part, I felt like we've talked about a lot of great performances. Up until that point, I felt like her performance was, I mean, she was just okay. She was just hot.
Mm-hmm.
That
her
was role.
mom did a better job.
And I would say that's one of the
when
worst performances in the movie. And it ties in again. I can see women not wanting to watch this movie because I feel like the women characters are poorly portrayed. There's not enough there for them. And Carla Gugino, just come on, man. Come on. Kick it on here. And he put her again in Sucker Punch. Come on.
When she starts to cry though, and she says, "Not him," you really feel it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You realize she could act really well, but they have asked her to be
exactly
this stupid.
I don't feel like she was comfortable in the role. I don't feel like she fully inhabited that role.
I mean, if we've got to get into it, let's talk about the one sex scene in this movie. That's really two sex scenes moved into one. Pretty great. What do you rate it? 1 to 10.
I mean, dude, when the nerd takes off all his shit and he's built like a brick shit house, I mean, fuck yeah, for the win.
Yeah.
For the
win. Yeah, no joke. And
I'm gonna take Dr. Manhattan's girl. What?
Yeah. And then hearing Kelly like this is so cheesy. And I'm like, you ready for cheese? She's about to hit the flamethrower button. And when it happens, yeah, I'm like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. This movie is for me.
On top of all that, they're playing Hallelujah.
Right.
For that whole scene.
Yes.
Dude, let's talk about the soundtrack.
Let's talk about the soundtrack. All three of my favorite scenes are tied to songs. The Times They Are Changing, All on the Watchtower, and Sounds of Silence.
The credits.
Yeah.
The credits were great.
The cover of Desolation Row by Bob Dylan, by My Chemical Romance. Yes. I think I've got those.
God, so good.
I'm not sure I've got those right, so don't at me.
That was all
Nobody
good.
fucking
good job,
don't at me, bro. Yeah, I know.
Okay, nobody
we got people who at us.
Jeez. Hey, but if you made it this far, like, subscribe, hit that button for the bell.
Oh, that's right. This is a show for things.
Yeah, right. Tell us how long it's been since we've talked to you, the audience. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you showing up.
At least 12 episodes.
Us motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What?
Huh? All right. Hard reset. Best actors in the movie: Jackie Earle Haley, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Billy Crudup. Tell me different.
Crudup. What?
As Dr. Manhattan? He's pretty great.
Oh,
he was so good.
Know, man.
Yeah, no, I thought he for being a completely CGI character and having to digitally hang
so that's not his schlong?
No.
Oh,
I don't want to talk
him.
about Billy Crudup, but What
This
was your
movie
mom's
has-
quote? She had
Oh, I
such a
couldn't
good quote.
fucking- I
Like,
can't
this
remember,
is
dude.
something and this is something.
Mom, when you
It was
watch the
so good.
episode, put it in the comments.
Please put it in the
Please
comments. It
put
was
it in the
so good.
comments.
I try and remember it every time I see it. It's like, this is it was like, I can't even remember. Anyway.
Probably something about 6 inches.
Or like, this is a wish list. This is a fulfilled list. It was something like that.
Yeah.
It was
that makes
something
sense.
like that where it was so good.
Well, because that was all the fucking
Worst song on the soundtrack, Red Luft Balloons when they go to dinner. Who gives a fuck? What are you doing? Red Luft Balloons?
No, I thought I still felt that like that fit because there was a total like disconnect from the reality that they were in.
I
Right.
still felt like that fit. Josiah's got to disagree with you.
I really
I don't think there's anything
that.
in this movie that isn't there without ridiculous scientific precision. Like this movie fucking just delivers, dude. And I just watched the 3.5 hour cut,
Right. And you're not bitching about it.
and it just
No.
delivered more.
I'm telling
You
you.
know,
All right.
I mean,
You watch 3.5 hours. Name a scene you could have seen cut. And while you do it, I'll be right back.
Not one.
Honestly, I'm with you, Russ. I can't think of not a single scene that I would cut from the extended ultimate cut. I mean,
Yeah, I like this kind of movie. I just like it. The cerebral quality, the tone, the sound quality, the body paint, like everything they do to make you look and feel a certain way. It's perfect. And then all the acting was spot on. I wanted I want more. It's long. Like I said, it's an investment. If you go into it ready for that, I could have done 5 hours.
and honestly, I agree with you. I think it's the way they frame the scene. So like a perfect example for me, and I know this was I think this was even in the theatrical version, but it bleeds over into the rest of the movie. It just pops to mind the scene when the owl is downstairs in the basement after Dr. Manhattan's girlfriend has came and they had the failed sex scene. Right? Like he couldn't get it up. And
Yeah, I just need some time.
I need some time, right? But then he's downstairs having a moment with the suit. If he had been fully clothed in that scene, it would have not worked. But the fact that he was standing down there naked lent the scene so much more validity in regards to the character's vulnerability in that moment. And again, just there's nothing they did wrong in this movie.
Are you saying that in the uncut version there's nudity in this movie?
Dude, there's more blue penis in this movie than Smurfs on Pornhub.
Dude,
It's ridiculous.
Nice. Solid. Jason would miss you. Good one, bro.
that was
Yeah, no,
solid.
I would agree. And his little thing about the costume, being able to go out in costume has been taken away by the law. And he wants to be this force for good, but he feels so impotent. That's a phenomenal little diatribe.
And the way they
Night
follow
Owl.
it up with the sex scene, after
After they save some people, they're like, let's get this on. Yeah, this is what living's all about.
Well, and that's what brought this up was like you're talking about the whole sequence that could have been cut. Even that whole sequence of their failed intimacy scene, moving into that scene, into let's go rescue people from a fire, into let's have sex. Like even that whole sequence that was just there for to address his inadequacy because he's friggin' taking Dr. Manhattan's woman because who wants to bat second after that?
That's like
Still
Mr.
deserves
Fantastic.
its
That's
place
like
in
going
the
up against
fucking
Mr.
movie. Like it
Fantastic.
still fucking fits. Like you can't cut it. It works.
Yeah, I would like to add, since I might have not been here for it, wouldn't cut a thing. Not a thing. Not one fucking thing would I cut from this movie. It's phenomenal. Did anybody watch the HBO follow-up?
I did not.
No.
Okay. So here's a little bit about it. Not bad.
second.
Takes place after the
I'll be right
movie. Okay. Hopefully I can keep it going because this is a short segment. Not bad. Takes place after this movie. Let's just repeat everything I've said. And I watched the first couple episodes, whatever. Russ.
Yes.
Oh
That's
my!
my name.
I had a second runner up with the pundits in the beginning. I love that beginning, dude, where they're talking on the show. SNL, Dana Carvey had a great similar thing, but this is actually more serious. Hearing them call that guy Pat Buchanan, I'm like, fuck, dude, that looks like Pat Buchanan. Phenomenal. Russ, what do you have to say? What do you have to bring up? Give me something. Let's pivot.
I do actually. When I said that this movie suffers from the same things that Dune does when we were recording Dune, I do want to do a special shout out to another movie, suffers from the same kind of thing, but also, unlike Dune, I think is a phenomenal movie. Also a comic book movie, similar tone and everything to this movie. V for Vendetta. This movie and that movie remind me of each other, and I love V for Vendetta.
Guess why?
Why?
Because they're
Zack
both
Snyder.
written by the same fucking Englishman, Alan Moore, who is a spell casting fucking genius. Wrote the best of Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing has never been as good as what Alan Moore wrote. And yeah, V for Vendetta, Watchmen. This guy, I'd be too scared to meet him, but so honored if I ever had the chance to be within the same eye distance of him. He's gonna look like Rasputin, dude. Fucking beard. Just, I'm telling you, you would be like, oh fuck, is this the guy from Hellboy? Not really.
Did he write Hellboy?
Much better than Hellboy.
No.
Shout out to Bakehead. What's everybody drinking tonight?
My A by Acacia is empty, so I will be right back.
Nice. Joe, you're going with Corona again?
Yeah, hey, shocker.
I'm shocked.
Plot twist.
I'm shocked.
I started with some Mike's hard cranberry.
Very nice.
And actually I had a glass of red wine. I'd go grab the bottle, but we don't want to have two guys off screen at the time.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this movie is worth it. It's worth it. Dude, what do you remember from seeing this in the movie theater with your mom?
Honestly, I couldn't even
Was
recall.
it Fairfield?
No, there was.
I feel like it was the Metreon in San Francisco.
Yes. We
Right?
we made
good.
the trip to San Francisco for the day and went and saw it in the Metreon and
I
saw
mean-
it on the big.
Does that
Screen
not
that
tell
they
you
got.
what a big deal this movie was?
No, the movie was fucking huge, dude. And I'll be honest, like
20 years.
for me, it wasn't even as on the radar until you started talking about it. Because in our comic book days, I was never as prolific as you were. I was much more interested in the art. Stan Lee,
Jim Lee, Psylocke. I get it.
Yeah, Stan Lee, Jim Lee.
Jim Lee, the artist. Anyway, yes.
Right. All of that totally brought me to the fore, but you were so much more into the story than I ever was. And when the opportunity to see this movie, I was like, I'm gonna go see this movie with Ben. I was like, I give a fuck. Like Ben's got to be there.
I love that your mom came. And yeah, you know, I honestly, when it's so sad. There are people out there who've had phenomenal lives, but you know, in my life, there are really two moments. Being able to sit in the movie theater and think I'm going to be able to watch this right now, and it's finally happening, and stepping into the ocean in Hawaii and thinking I've been waiting 30 years to get to this place. This movie is very powerful for me. It's very hard to hear people detract from it. This is a portion of my life that I waited for. I read these comics and knew one day I was going to see this.
This is the MCU we deserved, but we didn't get.
But it's DC.
I mean,
and that's one of the things Kelly brought up was, is this Marvel? And I'm like, it's DC, and it's DC before Vertigo came out. Before they
Yes.
came out with their adult section, this movie should have been Vertigo, should have been the catalyst.
DC's
But-
always been adult, though. I mean, I think
What?
that's
They're the cheesiest superheroes on the fucking planet.
yeah.
Plastic Man, come on. Where's this plastic dong? Anyway, let's
I-
move on.
I just looked up Alan Moore.
Uh-huh.
He looks like the character from Black Freighter after he beats his wife to death and
Yes, he
realizes
does.
he's going to go
Yes, he
join the
does.
zombies.
And he's dabbled in spells. He wrote this 3-novel thing with his that then time girlfriend that basically made sexual twists on old fairy tales called Lost Girls. I'm telling you, this guy is a deviant, and I can't help but admire him. I can't help but admire him and think about what an artist would do to be true to himself. This guy does not fucking compromise. And he's made some of the best art comic wise I've ever read.
Rorschach of the world.
Mm,
Doesn't compromise.
kind of. Yeah. Yeah.
Really enjoyed Danny Woodburn as Big Figure.
Did
Like,
you?
I did in the context that there was absolutely no context. Like the fact that this dude could come up inside the prison and talk mad shit to Rorschach in the context and everything. Like Rorschach, whatever his name is.
My mask is like a shark.
Rorschach,
fin.
my mask is like a shark's fin. It happens.
He wears a hat.
He does.
It was
He's
him.
picking it up in the final fight.
I wanted to know what his backstory was. I wanted to know more about that character. How did this little fucking dude come to be this thing? Like they did a good job with that.
I'd
He's a
agree.
little guy.
I got two things right there. Cinematography break when they're in the final fight with Ozymandias, and it's you see the hat come up and he's putting it back on his head for probably the 5th time. That's such an inspired shot. One of my favorite of the movie. And then if there
really
was a
good
scene I
camera
had to
work.
cut, it was a little bit of overkill with sawing that dude's arms off. Just a little bit of overkill.
Yeah,
Give me a
when
fucking break already. You couldn't saw another part.
yeah.
Whatever.
When they did
No,
that,
okay.
I was just like, oh, just cut right in front of you instead of your friend's arms off.
Right? Yeah. No, need him out of the way. And he's making a lot of noise. Nobody likes it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fair. If
I
there
mean-
was a scene to be cut, that was like a solid 30 seconds that could go. That's
Yeah.
it.
Agreed. That's it. Stop right there, or I'm
Stop
gonna be
it.
pissed.
It's both a visual and a visceral betrayal. Stop it.
All right. I love it so much. I love that quote so much. It's stupid because Transformers movies, for the most part, suck, but that is the best one.
I know Shia
In-
LaBeouf's in that scene. What the fuck?
In the
The
opening
worst.
credits, let's talk about it. In the opening credits, okay, Easter eggs. I'm just going to throw this one out here, and then we're going to have a free for all, just love fest on this movie till the end. In the opening credits, the Night Owl is stopping a robber. Okay. In the background, he is saving 2 wealthy people and a young boy. That's because
Batman.
this Easter egg shows that he stopped the murder
Of
of
Batman.
the Waynes.
Yes.
And therefore, Batman has no reason to be created. And he is the Batman in his second incarnation with Dan Dreiberg. Zack Snyder,
Wow.
you
Wow, that's deep.
helped.
That's
Just-
deep. That's deep. It's a deep cut.
I feel it beating. I can't believe how good it is. What other good shit do you guys have to say before people are just turning this off at this point? Oh wait, no, 10 minutes ago. But what do
Fidel
you guys got to say
Castro.
for ourselves? Say it for us. Say it with your chest.
Say it for Russ.
Just all the Richard Nixon stuff. I can't. I think I said something. I want to say it live. Could you imagine 3 terms of Richard Nixon, but then imagine 1 term of President Trump? And I
So-
feel like I already did it.
So this is going to be a hot take, but Richard Nixon did more for our foreign affairs
my
than
God, that was
any
great.
president before or since.
Turn it off now. Stop recording.
Our world presence would not be what it was without Nixon. Go back and look. Do the research. It's facts.
I guess it's a matter of opinion, right?
Just a
Not
matter
actual
of opinion.
fact.
Hey, that's
No,
a
I mean
premise
it's
song they
actual
didn't play in
facts.
concert.
That is one they didn't play in concert.
Yep.
Fun facts.
Just a matter of opinion. Anyway, would you change your rating?
No.
No way. There's
Do you
no
want to
way.
go watch it right now?
I'm ready for a rewatch. Honestly, like with the added cuts of the Black Freighter, the little sequence at the end where the two Bernards embrace each other before getting blown up. So the newsstand guy and the comic book boy, like, lends that whole scene way more validity.
Honestly,
I
I want to go watch V for Vendetta.
That's fair.
I felt like watching this, I was so interested in the Easter eggs that I would watch it again just to like focus more on the
Pay
story.
attention.
Yeah,
Dude, there's
I don't know.
so much to pick up on in the initial opening montage. They set the entire political landscape in that montage, and if you're really not paying attention, like you can miss it super easy. There are so many of those political figures. Even the meetings that Ozymandias has with Lee Iacocca and all
That's
of those
Studio
guys.
54, bro. Yeah,
And it's Studio
Everything.
54.
Everything.
I mean, it's so many cultural and historical high points that they hit on that just, all right. So Ozymandias, this pinnacle of human rights and freedoms and all that stuff, that he's doing a quick little photo shoot before he walks into Studio 54. Like, I wanted to bring that up specifically on this episode. Like, that is just sets the scene for you. Like,
I agree. Again, it's my number one favorite thing. I think about, with no context, that opening sequence to that opening song, and it shows how fucked up and stupid my brain
everything
is.
The passing
gather
from the
around,
first
people.
generation to the second generation. He got his cape caught in a friggin' spinning door and murdered.
Dollar Bill.
I mean, yeah, dude.
Never knew you, but God, I feel bad for you with that cape in the door. It reminds me of, dude, think of the Incredibles, no capes. They took that from this fucking story. 100%.
They did.
100%. This, there was a story before this story. I want to say it's before this story.
Dude,
Comic historians
think
might
about
tell me
it,
I'm wrong.
Even the fucking emblem that the bad guy has in Incredibles resembles Dollar Bill. It's the S.
Yeah. Super Folks was a no pictures, all words, great story about costume vigilantes who had been told to stop. It's highly overlooked. John Harder, you'll never watch this show, but I'm going to call you out for showing me that it's not a graphic novel. It's a fucking
We're going to at you.
novel.
We're going to at you, John.
We're going to at you, John. Knew more about comics than I've ever known and still does. And you telling me to read this comic and me realizing this is where Watchmen came from. There's a phenomenal story about, we're superheroes, but let's not talk about how much we have to fight people with our fists, but the problems we need to overcome as people. A+. Go watch this movie. If you don't like this movie, then fuck you.